Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the sessions on power electronics by Ramana. As followed in the last session, we are done with the actual syllabus, that is prescribed syllabus for our curriculum in the last session. So, all the units prescribed in C18 curriculum for the power electronics subject of DEEE are completed. And as mentioned in the last session, we will be continuing for some more sessions and revise the total concepts discussed so far based on the question answer type according to the prescribed model question papers given in the curriculum for various examinations throughout the semesters. So let us continue with the present session, that is the 37th session in this series, and this is what we are going to discuss in this session. We will revise the total concepts as per the midterm 1 examination halfway through the semester based on the model question paper given in the curriculum. So this is the objective of this session. We will revise the concepts learnt in unit 1 and 2 for midterm 1 examination based on model question paper. And this is our model question paper for this session for 18E 503B Power Electronics for C18 curriculum, midsem 1 or midterm 1 model question paper. And we know the weightage given, it is the same for all the subjects, but we shall go through it just for a brief moment, where for midterms 1 it is on unit 1 and unit 2. Reasoning, understanding and assessment level of questions will be distributed equally among both the units, and instructions will be given in the note itself. We have to follow those things. And just before going to the actual questions again, we will discuss of all the parts, part A, B and C in given inside the question paper. Part A comprises of 4 questions. Each question carries 1 mark. These are very short answer questions. It may be in a single word or few words also, or at the most some number of few sentences. So, according to the question you have to answer, it should neither be more by a word or not less by a word. According to what you have written, you are going to get the answers. When it comes to part B, it is a little bit longer than the part A. That is, again in this question, in this part also we have to answer all the questions. Here the answer should be of neither a sentence more nor a sentence less. Each question carries 2 marks, 3 questions. So 4 plus 6, 10. Added with 10 marks from the part C. It comprises of 2 questions into 5, 10 marks. So totally the question paper is for a total of 20 marks. When it comes to part A, there is no choice. When it comes to part B, there is a choice within the unit itself. Fifth question comes from only the first unit, 5 A or B, either A or B you have to answer. Again, sixth question comes from unit 2, either A or B you need to answer. Likewise in part C also, seventh question is from unit 1, either A or B you have to answer. Eighth question is from Unit 2, either A or B, you have to answer. So that is the model of the question pattern. Now we will actually switch over to the subject. So the part A comprises of 4 questions. First question is list different devices of thyristor family. Draw the ISA symbols for SCR and G2SCR. Classify converters in any two aspects. What is the need of freewheeling diode in converter? Just you will go through this part A, through the slides. So first question is, you are asked to see, just follow the question. List different devices of thyristor family. It is not mentioned whether you have to write the names of 2 or 3 or 4 family devices or the total family devices, which are listed 11 over here in this slide. But according to the question, it comprises of only 1 mark, and this is a basic question where you have to answer the different types of thyristor family devices. It is the most basic question. So at least you have to list at least 4 devices. If it is not a basic question, you have to write at least 2 devices. But it is a very basic question for the thyristor family devices. Try to write at least 4 types of devices, and there is no rule that whether you are to write the first device or 10th device in the list shown over here. You can write any of the thyristor family device from this list. So it can be an SCR, diode, that is bidirectional diode thyristor, triode bidirectional triode thyristor, GTO SCR, that is gate turn off SCR, SUS silicon unidirectional switch, SBH silicon bidirectional switch, SCS silicon control switch. You can write either an abbreviation or the full name, it doesn't matter. LASCR, light activated SCR, ASCR, that is asymmetrical SCR, RCT, reverse conducting thyristor, SITH, that is static induction thyristor. So from the given list, you can write any 4 names of the thyristor family devices. And the next question is, draw the symbols of SCR and G2SCR, 2A and 2B. You are asked to just draw this symbol. It is not the construction you are. So this is the symbol, basic thing for silicon control rectifier. Compulsorily you have to indicate all the terminals, anode, cathode, and towards the cathode, the difference between a diode and SCR is you have to put a line at the cathode and connect to another terminal G or gate. So this is the symbol of the SCR. Next 2B is your gate turn off or GTO SCR, but always make sure that you will write the title of the question. You need not repeat the total question. This symbol is comprising of SCR. So 2A SCR, then draw the symbol. When it comes to this question, answer to the first question, write 1 and then at least write following is the list of thyristor family devices or list of thyristor family devices, some of the thyristor family devices. At least you have to put an heading and write the answer. For 2B, that is GTOSCR, it is, there are 2 symbols for it. You can draw either of the symbols. The first symbol shown is, it is nothing but an SCR, where on the gate terminal you will put a cross line. It indicates that you can also turn off the SCR via this gate terminal. The other symbol comprises of 2 anti-parallel lines following the opposite directions for the gate, which depicts more elaboratedly when compared to the other. That is, into the gate and out of the gate, into the gate for turn on, out of the gate for turn off. So you can draw either of the symbols for this. The next question is, classify converters in any 2 aspects. So this is actually a confusing question when it comes to the question paper, what you follow or the author follows. Converters are basically the actual converters. All the Converters are transforming circuits, power electronic circuits can be called as converters. And some authors call them as, mention rectifiers as converters. In this question it is not mentioned, so you can take choice. Either you can write the classification of converters or classification of rectifiers, but strictly speaking, converter is a generalized word. This is the answer for converters. Converters can be classified depending on the conversion from the given form to the other. Alteration of waveform parameters, function of operation, control components, as we discussed in the base fundamental sessions. Classify converter in any two aspects. So aspects are this: 1, 2, 3 or 4. You can write any of the aspects. Under that aspects, what is the classification? If you take the conversion from one form to other form, it is simply, that is, when the supply is AC, you will convert it into DC. When the supply is DC, you will convert it into AC. So under conversion from one waveform to the other, it is AC to DC or DC to AC converters. You can write them as like AC to DC converters, DC to AC converters, or simply rectifiers and inverters. And next category is alteration of waveform parameters. Waveform parameters is, that is, the magnitude, frequency, time period, likewise. So ultimately, by doing what is happening to the output waveform, so it is within the waveform. You will not be transferring or changing the waveform. You will be altering the waveform. That is, within DC, you will be converting some parameter, average output voltage, likewise. So DC to DC conversion we can write, or chopper. AC to AC converter. So under the shading alteration of waveform parameters, you can write it as choppers. Under AC to AC converters as regulators or AC voltage controllers and cycloconverters. The other is function of operation, that is, depending on their operation, what they are performing. That comprise of static switches, or that is conversion of waveform or alteration of waveform. So this under this comes three types. That is conversion from waveform and alteration of waveform. Only you need not mention the names of the converters. And the other aspect is control components. Further, all the converters are named as, this is the thing. So depending on the control components you employ in the circuit, it can be uncontrolled, semi-controlled, or fully controlled. Uncontrolled means it comprises of totally uncontrolled components or devices. That is a simple a diode, or any power transistor or power BJT also, which cannot be controlled. So, but basically we will be mentioning it as, but it comprises of totally diodes. It is an uncontrolled converter. Semi-controlled, excuse me, semi-controlled is the combination of diodes and SCRs, half diodes and half SCRs. Fully controlled is, it comprises of fully controlled devices, SCRs, GTO SCRs, or IGBTs, MOSFETs. But here we'll stick over to it as fully controlled means comprising of SCR. So under this category, you will write it as uncontrolled converters, semi-controlled converters, or fully controlled converters. So the answer for this third question is, converters are classified as follows. The first category, you can write any of these four categories, any two from these four categories. The fourth one is, what is the need? What is the need of freewheeling diode in converter? Freewheeling diode in converter. So what is the need of freewheeling diode in converter is, obviously, it improves the waveform, it makes the load to be continuous, and ultimately it improves the power factor and efficiency. But simply to say, the basic need is, the answer should be in a way where you have to project the problem and solution, like that is right. Need for a freewheeling diode is, in the case of a single phase half wave controlled rectifier with RL load, the waveform of load current is not continuous. It is a discontinuous conduction. So if waveform will be broken, average voltage will be less, and also uh, what you call ripples will be more. So to improve the waveform, for improving the waveform of load current, a freewheeling diode is connected across the load. So this is what you have to answer as per the question. This is for only 1 mark. This particular answer is sufficient. If the same is asked for 2 marks or 5 marks, then you have to elaborate it with a given circuit and also say that power factor will be improved, efficiency will be improved likewise. So that is all for part A in the question paper. Now we will switch over to part B, where 5A from unit 1 is define latching current and holding current of SCR. Draw the static volt ampere characteristics of diag with the help of a diagram. So for this, just define these parameters. For this, draw the VA characteristics. That is, draw the diagram of the VA characteristics of diag and mention those salient points on the diagram itself. You need not explain anything. So this is how it goes. 5A answer is, just put the heading as latching current. Again, you can repeat as it is defined as something, or you can write like this: latching current of an SCR is defined as the minimum current required to flow through it so that it is pulled into conduction or turn on mode or turn on state from the forward blocking or off state. This is the most basic definition or generalized definition. You can write it in any other way of projection of the definition, like with gate control, without gate control, all those things you can incorporate it. But basically you have to understand what is latching current. When the forward breakover voltage is reached, or when you apply some gate signal, what happens? The SCR, which was in the forward blocking or off state until that moment, now starts to conduct, and when the current through it becomes equal to the latching current, a value equal to latching current, then it will enter into the conduction mode, or then only you can say it as it is turned on. Between this forward blocking off state and turn on state, even if the SCR is going to be turned on and current is increasing, you cannot call it as permanent turn on. So simply, latching current is the current required to flow through the SCR so that its state is transformed from or transitioned from forward blocking region or off state to turn on state, or transition from off state to on state is done by is achieved when current or anode current or forward current through the SCR becomes equal to latching current. Next, holding current of an SCR is defined as the minimum current which should flow through it to maintain or hold it in the conduction or turn on mode. That is, once an SCR enters into conduction mode, or once it is totally turned on, it continuously goes on conducting the forward current. Depending on the change in load impedance or load resistance, current will be changing. But if the current falls below the value of this holding current, then what happens is this SCR will be simply and suddenly pulled down into forward blocking region or off state or turn off state. So you can also define this as that should be the minimum current which should be maintained, which should be flowing through the SCR so that it will be hold or maintained in the conduction mode or turn on mode itself. So holding current of an SCR is defined as the minimum current which should flow through it to maintain or hold it in the conduction mode or turn on mode. If the current falls below the holding current value, it will be simply turned off. And this is the most basic, and you should compulsorily write along with these definitions whenever are asked. That is, latching current is always more than the holding current. So that is, while turning on, you require more current to turn it on, but while turning off, the minimum current through the SCR will be somewhat less than, or even when the current falls below the latching current, But if it is still equal to or more than the holding current, SCR will be in the turn on state itself. So that is the important aspect you have to understand. Next question is, draw the diagram of VA characteristic of a diode. Just you have to draw it completely, which is symmetric. VA characteristics voltage on X and current on Y axis. When compared to SCR and diode, you will have the similar shape, particularly when compared to SCR in the forward region or first quadrant operation. And diode is a bidirectional device that too, which has symmetric characteristics in both the quadrants. So that is reverse operation or reverse bias, or for the third quadrant operation also the same shape will be repeated. But you have to indicate all the things where. So this is forward blocking state or off state, and this voltage is the forward breakover voltage VBO1, or this is the voltage at which diode breaks down and conducts. The voltage across it falls down to very low value. Until that time, it will be blocking the total voltage and load will not be getting any voltage. And when the breakover voltage is reached, it enters into conduction mode or on state. And it is a bidirectional device. When a single phase supply is given to it, this is for positive half cycle. When the negative half cycle or reverse voltage appears, you will get the same characteristic, the reverse. This is reverse blocking region or reverse half state. And at VBO2, that is reverse breakover voltage, it starts to conduct, and the voltage blocked by diode decreases rapidly and becomes very less, and it enters into conduction mode. So this is the VA characteristic of diode, and you have to show the salient points or main points on it. When it comes to the sixth question, which is from the second unit, you are asked to answer either of the questions. That is, draw the input and output waveforms of a single phase half wave controlled converter with resistive load. Input and output, that is, input is the supply AC single phase, and output waveform means load voltage and load current. Load voltage and load current. If so, you have to draw these two. If you can draw the other things, that is gate triggering pulse and the load voltage across the SCR, that also you can draw. But strictly to speak, if you draw these waveforms, it will be sufficient. Single phase half wave, it is said. Half wave means it can be by a diode or an SCR, a single. But it is called as controlled. Controlled means no diode, it is an SCR. You can use other device, but you can simply draw the SCR circuit or waveforms for SCR, which is on syllabus. And the two load given is resistive. So resistive load is given, so there is no other problem like induction. Then other question is, write the advantage of power electronic converter. Simply write the advantages. Again, it is not mentioned how many advantages you have to written. If you have some 10 advantages, it is a 3 mark question. So at least try to write 6 advantages from the total advantages. If there are only 5, that will be okay. But if there are 6 or more than 6, at least write 6 advantages, depending on the marks allotted to the question. And again, from the 6 ARB, you have to write any one answer. So let us go through the answers for this. 6A is, draw the waveforms of a single phase half wave controlled rectifier with R load. You need not draw any circuit, simply draw the waveform. Single phase half wave, so obviously supply voltage waveform is a sinusoidal waveform. Vm sin omega t 0 pi 2 pi, that is 90, 180, 360 degrees continuous cycles. Then firing pulse, gate triggering pulse, then the SCR voltage, then the load voltage. So depending on the gate triggering pulse, which is given at an angle alpha or firing angle alpha, the SCR will be fired and conduction takes place. So between 0 and alpha, this is the angle alpha. In correlation with, you have to draw the all diagrams, alpha, 2 pi plus alpha, likewise. So always make a habit to draw the waveforms depending on the triggering pulse and alpha. So you can draw the waveforms easily and also neatly and properly. So at an angle between 0 to alpha, SCR is in forward offset. It is not turned on because triggering pulse is not given. So the total supply voltage will be appearing across the SCR. SCR will be blocking the total voltage. So load will not be getting any voltage. Load will not be getting any voltage. Now at an angle alpha, gate triggering pulse is given, and again you can follow from the waveform. It is only half wave, so during the negative half cycles, no firing pulses are given. So once gate triggering pulse is given, SCR conducts, voltage across it becomes zero. Voltage across it becomes zero. The full voltage will be available as it is equal to the supply voltage across the load. So this is the load voltage waveform. And at 180 degrees or pi degrees, due to natural or line commutation, SCR will be turned off simply. There is only one SCR, half wave rectification. So now full negative voltage will be appearing across the SCR as it is. It is full reverse voltage will be appearing across it, and voltage across the load will be zero again. So that is how to understand and draw the waveforms. According to the question, you need to draw the input voltage, output voltage, and also the output current. You can also draw the output current separately, which is not shown in the slide, or on the same VT, on the same V0 and I0. As the load is resistive, current will be in same phase with the voltage. Like that is, current will be again, it decreases from 0, increases and becomes 0 at 180 degrees itself. It will be in phase, but magnitude will be different. I naught will be V naught by R. I naught will be V naught by R, or Vm sin omega t by R. So that is how to draw the waveforms for the question asked. Next, 6b, you are asked to write the advantage of power electronic converters when compared to other types. There are so many advantages. You have to write at least 6. We will go through them simply. Long life, small size. Obviously, going to the size, life is more. High efficiency because of low loss. High reliability. It can handle large output currents. That is, they can be designed for high voltage and currents. They are reliable, less maintenance, as there are no moving parts, fast dynamic response, that is, uh, after switching on the circuit, the time taken for the output voltage to appear across the load terminals is very less when compared to other electrical aspects. Less weight and volume, so they require less floor space and therefore very low installation cost. Low thermal dissipation, lower production cost as mass production is possible. Fluctuation in power fed to the grid can be reduced. This is very important. Acoustical noise due to wind turbine is reduced. High quality power to grid flexibility and operations. So many advantages are there, but amongst these advantages, you can write any of the advantage you want. There is no simple advantage or very important or very specific advantage. Uh, like that, you can write anything. Any 6 advantages are from this, either small size or fast turning response, whatever you remember or whatever you can recall or whatever you prefer. Acoustical noise, fluctuations, likewise. So when compared to the questions again, it is better to write these advantages which takes less time when compared to drawing the waveforms. It is up to you which answer you are going to take. And again, when you are writing advantage and disadvantages or main features or comparisons, like if you write contradictory things which are not actually there, like somewhere you will write it as high cost, somewhere you will write it as low cost, then you will not be getting any marks because you are contradicting it yourself. So be particular in your answers. You just think that for this case, reliability is high. So if you write high reliability, you will be getting marks. But instead of that, somewhere in the answer you write that they are highly reliable, and somewhere you will write it as not reliable. Then don't think that you are written as highly reliable, you are going to get marks even though you are right. The other thing is not reliable. No, you are contradicting yourself, so no marks will be awarded, though some parties right in this case. So be specific in your answer. Next, come to part C, that is long answer questions or comprehensive questions. Again, first question in part C, that is seventh question, comes from unit 1. Again, 7 ARB, you have to write answer for any of the question A or B. Explain the two transistor analogy of SCR with equivalent circuit. Explain the static volt ampere characteristic of triad with the help of a diagram. So let us go through these answers. First one is two transistor analogy of an SCR. Just we will go through the slides first, then discuss. So, so in this it is given schematic diagram. Here two transistor model, two transistor analogy, equivalent circuits in transistors, and this is some explanation regarding the gains of the transistors, and finally the current which will flow for turning on the SCR. So the answer is comprising like this. So depending on the question, it is 5 marks question. So you have to write everything elaborately, and also uh, draw only the relevant ones for the figures, and also write only the relevant part of the answer, which may be more in these slides. So basically, you have to explain how you can initialize the modeling of SCR into some sort of connection of two transistors. So two transistor model of SCR is obtained by splitting the two middle layers into two separate parts. So two middle layers are this N and P. By splitting them into two separate parts like this, it can be done. So this is the schematic diagrams. Diagram can be divided halves. But however, you are going to draw this in this slide with the connections also. So you need not draw this figure schematic diagram. You have to, but you have to write the answer. Next, draw this diagram, that would be self-sufficient. So this is the two transistor analogy, where you can imagine that it has been split into two parts and connected like this. Transistor T1, that is first transistor, would be a PNP, that is towards anode it will be PNP transistor, towards cathode it is an NPN transistor from this side. Emitter E of T1 is anode, emitter E of T2 is cathode. So analyze these transistors in reverse direction from anode to cathode. From anode it is PNP, from cathode it is NPN. Don't think that from here also it is NPN. It is connected in between, so it is from this side. Gate G is positive with respect to cathode. Gate G is positive with respect to cathode, and it is connected to the PNP side base. PNP side base. This will form as a base. Sorry, this is form as the gate. So anode of PNP transistor will form as the emitter of the PNP transistor or T1 transistor, and N will be acting as the collector, P as the base. Likewise here P will be the base, N will be the collector, and N will be the emitter. And this you must draw compulsorily this diagram, how this PNP and NPN transistor can be connected in tandem in reverse. In reverse, like that is the collector of T2 is connected to base of the collector of T2 is connected to base of the first transistor. Next again collector of the first transistor is connected to the base of the second transistor. Anode, cathode. So this is PNP transistor. Emitter is shown with arrow into it. Next NPN emitter is shown with arrow out of it. And individual gains are shown alpha 1, beta 1, alpha 2, beta 2. And this comprises of J2 junction J2, that is your inner layers. This is the main thing which has to be broken. Next Ig is the current which may flow into the gate when gate triggering pulse would be given. If Ig is 0, simply collector current of T1 IC1 will be equal to IB2. Alpha 2 beta 2, and this is eventually the total current which will flow into the IK. And due to the cumulative action, when you go on increasing the voltage even without the gate current, current increases gradually. So the collector current due to the cumulative action increase gradually, which will be fed to the base of the second transistor. Again, depending on the forward gain of the transistor T2, more current collector current will flow, which will again given to the base of the first transistor. Likewise it will be shown. In this is a problem, just take these arrows to be in reverse, take these arrows to be in reverse. So that is how the connection can be understood and how it conducts, how the gain will increase. During the off state, the collector current, common collector current equation, right? IC alpha IE plus IC BO. Likewise, IC1 is alpha 1 IE plus IC BO1, and for transistor T2. Next, total current IA is the sum of the collector currents, obviously IC1 plus IC2. So when gate is triggered, more current will flow through the into the base of the second transistor, and IK will increase. IK will be simply IA plus Ig. What is IA? IA is anode current. Total anode current which is flowing from here to cathode, it is again IC1 plus IC2. IC1 plus IC2. And IK is IC1 plus IC2 plus Ig. So eventually IK, which takes all the gains from both the transistors, can be calculated from the generalized formula as alpha 1 Ig plus ICBO1 plus ICBO2 by 1 minus alpha 1 plus alpha 2, where alpha are the gains of the individual transistors. So that is how you have to explain the two transistor analogies. Simply not don't write with just like these phrases. You have to write complete sentences and explain in paragraphs. So that is how to explain the two transistor analogy of SCR. And the next question is, you are asked to draw the VA characteristic of triac and explain. Draw and explain. Again we will go through the answer. That is, this is some explanation regarding the characteristic. This is the actual and this is constructional view of triac and symbol of triac. VA characteristics, which are the actual things which you have to draw, and some small explanation which is to be considered. And next, the other things which are related to the triggering of the triac. So these are the main things which you have to understand to explain the characteristic of triac. And just start with this one, where construction view and symbols are given. You need not actually draw the construction view, but you have to compulsorily draw the symbol of triac, and at least try to draw the biasing voltages between T2 and T1 and gate and T1 if time is sufficient. The triac can be operated with both positive or negative gate voltage. We know that, and they are given in these triggering modes. So just mention these triggering modes. Just mention, that is all the four triggering modes. T2 is positive with gate positive. T2 is positive but gate is negative. So with respect to T1, what is T1? For that purpose, you have to compulsorily draw the symbol T1. When you compare with the SCR, this can be as a cathode, but it is not like that. So T1, everything you will explain with respect to T1. So T2 is positive means it is with respect to T1. Gate is positive with respect to T1. Gate is negative with respect to T1 only. So T2 is positive, gate is changing. Next option is T2 is negative with respect to T1. Gate changes, gate positive, gate negative. Amongst them 2 and 4, that is, sorry, 1 and 4, that is T2 positive and gate positive with respect to T1. T2 negative and gate negative, that is both negative with respect to T1. So these are the better modes for the operation of the triac. Just remember them as both T2 and G should be same with respect to T1. That is, either both should be positive or both should be negative with respect to T1. They comprise of these forward and reverse characteristics, that is first quadrant and third quadrant characteristics. So first mention the triggering modes, draw the symbol and give the explanation likewise. For better operations, first quadrant, third quadrant are better. The breakover voltage at which a triac is turned on depends on the gate current, obviously, just similar to SCR. If gate current is not given, forward breakover happens at higher voltages. If the gate signal is not applied, the forward and reverse breakover voltages are as shown in the figure. VBO1, VBO2. So now come to the characteristic VBO2. In this figure, it is mentioned as VBO2. It doesn't matter. Forward breakover voltage without gate current. This is the voltage at which it breaks down and conducts. Voltage drop occurs at it. It acts like a short circuit and enters into conduction mode. So this is T2 and gate both positive with respect to T1. And the same forward breakover voltage decreases when some gate current is applied. As gate current is 0 at this, now go on increasing the gate current, forward breakover voltage will decrease or turn on times will decrease. Similarly, in reverse direction, forward breakover voltage is more without gate currents, and as you go on increasing the gate currents, reverse breakover voltage will decrease and triac conducts in or turns on less time. So triac is turned on in each half cycle, that is positive and negative half cycle. First quadrant for positive and third quadrant for negative, obviously, when a single phase supply is connected across it. In each half cycle, by applying a positive or negative pulse to the gate with respect to terminal T1. So for this operation, positive gate pulse is applied between gate and T1. For this operation, better is negative gate pulse is applied between gate and T1. So that is how you should explain the VA characteristic of the triac, and you can answer either 7A or 7B, whichever you have confidence in. And the next is last question, eighth question is from the second unit. Explain the working of single phase full wave bridge converter with RL load. Explain the working of three phase half wave control converter with resistive load. Explain the working of single phase full wave bridge converter. Single phase is the supply. Full wave means you want output to be full wave rectification, or both half cycles should be converted. Next, it is mentioned as bridge converter. It is not center tapped, it is bridge converter, either comprising of of all diodes or semi converter or all SCRs. But it is not mentioned over here. It is simply said that full wave bridge converter then take it as SCR, fully controlled with RL load. Again, it is not mentioned whether it is with freewheeling diode or not. It is not mentioned, so simply you can explain for only RL diode, RL load without freewheeling diode. Even with freewheeling diode, you explain, doesn't matter. You will be getting full marks, but you can also write the answer with out freewheeling diode. For this again, working of three phase half wave controlled, that is there on in the syllabus. We have discussed the other things also, but half wave control means one SCR, again not diodes, controlled one SCR in each phase with resistive load only, where the load is resistive. You need not bother of any freewheeling diode also. Now just we will go through the answers. For 8A, that is single phase full wave fully controlled bridge converter with RL load. Just go through the slides first. This is its operation modes, circuit, and how it is operated during positive half cycle, during negative half cycle, and the waveforms. And also the some important points, and also the calculation of average load voltages and all those things. So and also the circuit turn off time. So you have to write all these things elaboratedly, but you need not do any calculations or derivations as such. You can draw main points of all these things. You can draw main points of all these things, that is just you can draw that, or you can straight away write this. V naught is this much from the waveform. V naught is this much, and so its value weighs like this. You need not write this total table separately. You can simply write that from 0 to 90 degrees it is conversion, from 90 to 180 degrees it will be 0 to 120 it is conversion, above 120 to 180 it will be inversion. Likewise you can write. You need not write exactly as what is shown in these slides. So likewise, just we will go through these things. It converts or inverts AC voltage into wide range, and this is the most important thing. Range of controllable average DC output voltage is from minus 2 Vm by pi to 2 Vm by pi, where inversion and conversion operation take place. Again, you are asked to discuss the operation. Again, you need not write this also. Even if you write, it doesn't matter. You have to mainly draw the circuit diagram, explain the operation during positive half cycle and negative half cycle, draw the waveforms, and draw the value of the output voltage, and also draw the value of the circuit turn off time and importance of the turn off time. That is enough. So from these slides you can write as per the marks allotted to the question. So during the positive half cycle, T1 conducts and load current flows through the load from top to bottom via supply T1, load T2 and back. And during negative half cycle at the zero crossover, T1 and T2 will be automatically turned off due to line commutation, and now the supply is reversed. The load current flows through the path supply T3, and the same from top to bottom, that is the unidirectional current or the waveform, that is negative waveform has been converted into positive waveform. The current direction to the load is same, so current flows in the direction and back via T2 to the supply. So this is what you have to explain actually, and which is in the shown in these slides, which we have already discussed. You have to put it in those sentences, but the other things you have to explain is via these waveforms. Draw these waveforms as per the firing angle given gate triggering pulse. Gate is given triggering pulse at alpha. So during the positive half cycle T1, and during the positive half cycle in the circuit, T1 and T2 is shown here. It can be T1, T3 or whatever nomenclature you can follow. So in this figure, T1 and T2 T1 and T2 are triggered at alpha for positive half cycle. For negative half cycle, T3 and T4 are triggered. Likewise, it goes on. But Due to the inductive nature of the load, current increases slowly when compared to the load voltage. Load current increases slowly and also decreases slowly. Even though at 180 degrees or pi, that is zero crossover from positive to negative half cycle, even though T1 and T2 turn off, there will still be some current flowing through the load, positive current, but negative voltage will appear across the set of the SCRs. Negative voltage will appear across the load due to current conduction still going on. So from pi to pi plus alpha, current will be positive, but load voltage will be negative. And at pi plus alpha, the other set of SCRs T3 and T4 are fired, and the voltage, load voltage will be just similar to the positive half cycle, and again this set will turn off at zero crossover at the end of the negative half cycle, that is 2 pi or 360 degrees, but again current will be still flowing positive and decreasing gradually. During this period again load voltage becomes negative. So these are the waveforms which you have to draw and explain. This is without any freewheeling diode. With freewheeling diode, you can make it better and continuous. So these are the things you have to explain for the answer and write accordingly, and also mention the average output voltage. As voltage is discontinuous and positive and also negative, so average output voltage across the negative will be less than the actual magnitude, actual value of the input voltage waveform, and current will be lagging behind the voltage by this angle, its power factor angle. So that you have to explain, and accordingly average output voltage can be calculated as this equation, and eventually this is the expression for it, 2 Vm by pi into cos alpha. You need not mention this totally, just you can mention the angles for conversion inversion. Again, even if you don't write, it doesn't matter, but you have to mention this circuit turn off time so that false operation of the SCRs will not take place. Always whenever the SCRs are turned on at zero crossover, T1, the set T1, T2 and T3, T4 at zero crossovers, then there should be reverse voltage applied across them, so that you have to take care that they are totally turned off. For that purpose, circuit turn off should always be more than the SCR turn off time. This should you have to mention. And next, coming to the other answer, 8B, three phase half wave control converter with RL load, that is control means SCR only. This is where T1 is shown, T1, T2, T3, one SCR for each phase, ABC or RYB, and you know that is 3 SCRs, 3 phases for total 360 degrees. By 3 it is 120 degrees conduction, which you follow basically for this explanation, and it is given for RL load, where the question is for only resistive load. Sorry, uh, you are asked to explain it for only resistive load with R load only. This one only R load for 60 degrees T1 conducts, next 60 degrees T2 conducts, next 60 degrees T3 conducts. But the firing takes place at 60 plus alpha. Now you have to redefine alpha as from the reference point as pi 6. Go through the waveforms. This is three phase waveforms R, Y, B, as we discussed in the previous sessions. Your 60 degrees is the reference thing, that is pi by 6 is the reference thing for this operation. Now alpha is redefined as 60 plus alpha. The total firing angle will be 60 plus alpha. But when you call for these things as alpha is between 0 to 30, it means that if it is alpha is 30, it means that it is 60 plus 30. Sorry, pi by 6, or it is not 60, it is 30. Reference is 30 degrees. Reference is 30 degrees. When you mention alpha as 0 degrees, the minimum firing angle is 30 degrees. When alpha is 30 degrees, the firing angle is 60 degrees. Likewise, you can go on increasing the firing angle up to 150 degrees from alpha from 0 to 150 degrees. So the total firing angle will be 30 plus 150, that is 180 degrees. Up to that it will be conversion or rectification operation. If it is increased more than that, it becomes inversion operation. That is, you have to understand. But for this, you will be maximum, you will be following only up to 150 degrees. You will not be doing any inversion operation. So that is how it appears. For first set or R phase, first SCR T1 is turned on at pi by 6 plus alpha. Next will be turned on at 5 pi by 6 plus alpha. Next one again at 9 pi by 6 or 3 pi by 2 plus alpha. And eventually the load voltage will be continuous. There will not be any discontinuity. Depending on that, you can for this angle, for alpha is equal to 30 degrees, it is this one. But when the alpha increases more than 30, that is 30 plus 30, from 60 to 180 degrees, the load current and load voltage become discontinuous. They become discontinuous. These things you should be in a position to explain. Average output voltage is, again, you can calculate like this: 1 by periodic time into, that's one. So, and for KCA, where angle is 0 to 30, that is up to 60 degrees conduction. If it is more than 60 degrees conduction, from that is 30 to 150, means 60 to 180 degrees, this would be the case. You need not derive it totally, simply write the answer, because derivations are not there for you. So case A, case B you can mention accordingly, write proper explanation, but always practice practice of drawing the waveforms more and more. They should be exact, and once you understand and once you are able to draw the waveforms properly, everything can be understood and explained and put on paper in sentences easily. So that is how your three-phase half-wave controlled converter with R load works. And that is answer for the eighth question. You can write according to the choice either 8 A or B, and that is what we have discussed in today's session. So that is, in today's session we have discussed various answers according to the questions mentioned in the model question paper for midterm 1 question paper given in the prescribed syllabus. And accordingly you have to write the answers. And in the next session we will be continuing the same type of revision depending on the midterm 2 question paper. Until then, thank you and take care of yourself. Thank you.